Focus on the savvy side of 9 to 5 with the Focus Group.
And in business a week, I got more money and I know what to do with.
Listen, laugh, and learn with Tim and John.
Ferrero Rocher. He is doing well.
Hey, welcome back to the Focus Group. John Nash with Tim Bennett. FocusGroupRadio.com is where all our media is housed, including Unbuttoned, our Tuesday podcast. Please check that out. Subscribe, like, and rate, as you do, of course, with the Focus Group. All right, so as Tim teased before break, we're going to go out to California to meet an incredible artist who I think you're going to love getting to know, and we hope you also shop her fine works as well. Marge Margulies. Now, am I pronouncing that correct, Marge?
You got it exactly right.
Welcome to the
I may have done it wrong when I teased it, but so we'll have to practice that. But it's on the bottom of, if you're watching on the video feed, it's on the bottom the whole time, right? So you'll be able to see it there, right, John?
Mm-hmm. All right, so you have a look at Marge's studio. We're giving you full video frame here. The color is magnificent. Thank you for joining us. I want to kick this off by saying Marge is a working artist, a working potter. And what that means is she actually derives her income from her work, which not every artist can say, right, Marge?
No, that's correct. It's a tough road.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and specifically how you got into pottery and how it became a business for you?
Okay. Well, I was always someone who liked to make things, even as a kid. My father was an artist. It was always known that I would be the next artist in the family, but no one ever said you could do it for a job. Truthfully, the first step for me was when I was working at a hot dog stand in a tourist trap in Philadelphia, and a little boy came up to me and said, "My daddy's a potter." And he took me over to that guy, and that guy hired me for an apprenticeship, which I did for 2 years, and I saw how production pottery worked. And then after that, I went to art school. I actually majored in ceramics. And they taught us exactly nothing about how to do it as a business. I think nowadays they may teach you a little bit more, but you're totally on your own after that. I started working in restaurants and got my first studio right out of college and wound up connecting with a few little galleries, got a couple of wholesale accounts. And then I did my first big trade show in the early 90s. And the first morning I took $10,000 worth of orders. And after that, I was off and running. I started cutting back on my restaurant shifts and making as much stuff as I could and trying to get new galleries. And then it just built over years. And finally, I had a real good wholesale business. And I did that for many years. And then I started adding in driving to craft shows, which now that I live in California is a lot of driving. I was supposed to drive to New Orleans and Fort Worth and Denver and Bend, Oregon, and the Midwest, and all the shows got canceled.
Well, I have two questions for you. I'm in Philadelphia, Marge, so I need to know what is the hot dog place still in business?
No, it's long gone. It was at New Market. In
Wow.
fact, a minor point of interest is that while we were working at that hot dog stand, the group juggling and trying to get money out front of us was Penn and Teller.
I remember, so the New Market down off of South Street, I know where that is.
Right.
That's funny. Wow.
Right at the river.
So you went to so from one coast to the other. How did you end up? Are you in Northern California, or whereabouts in California are you located?
Yes, I'm in Sonoma County, about an hour and a half north of San Francisco, up in the wine country near the ocean. It's very beautiful. I can do my work from anywhere. And about 13 years ago, I decided I wanted to live someplace beautiful. So as long as UPS comes, I'm good.
Marge, when you were talking about your beginnings and how you graduated art school with literally, they didn't tell you how to make this a business. I experienced this as well. I mean, I was a graphic designer when I graduated, and graphic arts, typesetting, magazine layout, etc. That was, in fact, a job you were told you would make money at. But anything beyond that, like painting or pottery or sculpture, best of luck. I wanted to pick up on something you said a moment ago, though, about an apprenticeship. Was that the critical component for you, do you think?
I think it was, actually. It was this guy, Russell Johnson and Scott Ferreira of Job Chillaway Pottery. And they made me see what you could do. It was a big open warehouse, and they had it all set up and all the different stations of how you make pottery. And I think without that, I wouldn't have really been able to conceive of how you run your own shop.
Tell us, what was the first thing you made? Do you remember?
The first thing I ever made was on the very first day of kindergarten, where they made you put your hand in a piece of plaster to make a handprint. And apparently the story goes, I screamed and cried so much from getting my hands in that plaster that my mother had to come take me home.
So after that, when you were apprentice, what did do you remember? Did you immediately start doing the sort of crafts that we see displayed in front of you, or did you start on?
That's been many years of development. In fact, I've always had an interest in things that fit together, and I especially like colorful plants, succulent plants, the beautiful geometry of those things. And this body of work has actually developed over many years. One of the reasons actually was a very practical reason, because when I first started doing the wholesale shows, I was making some teapots that had these long twisted handles, and I had to actually ship them in Cooper's barrels, which I bought from a warehouse up in Northeast Philadelphia. And it was just crazy. And I thought, how can I ship these better? So I started making pieces that fit inside each other, and then you could stack them inside each other and ship them very easily. And then that led me to, pushing the idea. And I've always had a very strong sense of color. I like the way different colors that are very similar go together in very careful steps. A lot of my pieces do that, where I'll start with one color and then add a little bit of a couple of other colors until it makes a progression. So the body of work really has morphed over the years.
All right, so Marge, one of the things you said earlier when we were talking was that you used to travel to many trade shows around the country. You'd pack up your van and go, and one of the great things about pottery and your art and your craft is that it's tactile, and people could experience it in person and look at it and nest the different the bowls and the trays and figure out how it all worked, and it's really cool. What is, as this is your main income and this is what you do, how quickly were you able to pivot to online, and how has that been going for you?
You're right. Getting my work in your hands is the thing that makes you see it. In fact, it's super lightweight. This is something that you can't see without having it in your hand. But I've made a real point of making pieces that are very balanced and have a terrific weight to them. And when people get it in their hands, that's the best way to make you understand what it is to interact with my work in a daily way. When the event happened, I was extremely worried, as you might imagine. My entire year is based on these craft shows. And you're right, I haven't had a restaurant job since 1995. And it is pretty unusual for someone to be making an actual living. I mean, I'm not taking fancy vacations, but I'm making an actual living doing my work by going around to these big shows. And there's different tiers of shows, and I've been doing the higher tiers, like the Smithsonian Craft Show in Washington, D.C. is probably thought of the best show in the country, American Craft Exposition in Chicago, and other shows like that. But those are long drives for me, and when this happened, I was looking at a year of no income. So a friend of mine who's actually a Google guy called and offered me some engineer time. He said, you need an online store, and he taught me how to do it. And so within an hour of finally getting it live, after a couple of months of trying to learn how to do it, because computer is not my thing. In fact, I was determined that computer, I would never be able to do it. But in fact, it's been incredible for me, first of all, to learn what I'm capable of, which is actually managing and building an online store. And within an hour of the store being live, I had an order from someone I didn't know in Florida.
Wow.
So it gave me the sense that people are out there looking for my work. I don't know how regularly or sustaining, but I'm determined to continue having a business doing pottery. So it's been fantastic, the online store. And I see there's a lot of other opportunities that it presents such as, an online interview like this to make people aware that you're out there.
So Marge, with the pivot from going from being predominantly an in-person sales mode where people were actually touching and feeling the product, and as you said, one of the biggest surprises that we found with your pottery is how durable it is and how the feeling of it is quite different. It's not as heavy as you might expect some pottery to be. So when you've moved from the pivot because of the event to the online or e-commerce side of the business, has there been any surprises in terms of people's changing their tastes or things that they order? Have there been things that have surprised you?
There have been. And I must say it's been very interesting. One of the things, it's very true that at these craft shows that I do, my main intention is to get my work in people's hands. It's very lightweight, as you say, and that doesn't translate in a picture. I'm trying to make things that are very balanced and feel good as you use them. So I think the function of my work has really come through on the online platform in a way that I'm surprised about. My pieces are meant to be centerpieces, but when you pull them apart, you can use them to set a buffet, a table. When you make a lot of, like a dish that has a number of parts to it, like if you were making fajitas and it has that tortilla and then the bowls of stuff, you pull the centerpiece apart and use it to spread out, make a beautiful display on your table. You can even put it in the dishwasher and then put it back together. You don't need a cabinet to put it away in. I've learned that people who have small spaces very much want a piece of art on their table or on their kitchen island, especially one that they can use. The other thing I'll say that I've noticed is that people are more attracted to red than I had known.
I'm a big red fan. I love
you?
red. Yeah.
So, I'm willing to respond in that way. I've noticed that a lot of times I'm selling this piece poinsettia. I don't know if you can see it here.
Yep. Looks
Poinsettia
beautiful.
has a lot of red to it. And I use a lot of blue and green, colors of the forest. But I've noticed that people are responding to red, so I'm, making more of those.
So I don't know if this is a sidebar, but that's actually, you mentioned something here I think might be interesting or important. So if somebody was interested in one of your items that they saw online, could they make a request for you to do a custom piece? In other words, if they said, you know what, I love that particular piece, but could you make that in a light green, or could you make that in a blue or a purple? Do you do that sort of thing as custom work?
Oh, sure. I'm happy to do that. In fact, some of my best ideas have come from customers' requests. I mean, it needs to be within the range of what I do. I've learned that I can't, draw a pig on the side of a pitcher. That's not going to be a successful request. But if you see poinsettia in red and you love it, but you wish that it was in a green progression, I'm very open to special requests like that. I'm very easy to deal with in that regard. You can just email me or call me. Generally, when you order something from me, it goes out that same day or the next day. I try to have everything on my online store in stock and on hand. And if it isn't, you can order it, and then it's only about 3 weeks till it's ready.
So on that score, Marge, I'm going to give our listeners, I want to remind them how to contact you. So it's Marge Margulies. Like Hercules, Marge Margulies. It's MargeMargulies pottery.com. So it's margemarguliespottery.com. You also have some specials running at the site, so if people that are visiting for the first time can take advantage of some discounts you may be offering. And before we let you go, you're going to be visiting us again in a few weeks, which is great before the holidays. Tell us 3 surprising gangbuster pieces that you're selling out of.
Okay, let's see. Well, I think one of my most popular items currently is one of these sets, this one called Peony, which I just happen to have sitting right here in front of me.
Naturally.
There's Peony. This is green and purple, and it's also reversed on the other direction. You can see that on my website. This one's super useful. I've been very happy to see the reaction to Peony. And then there's a piece I make called Cactus Bowl.
Wow, I like that. That's cool.
I love the colors. Yeah, it's beautiful.
And this, I don't know if you can see this very well on here, but this has a thrown foot. It's kind of a riff on an on a very traditional piece called a footed bowl. But it's a little bit tricky to make. I do a lot of carving on the edges of these pieces. The foot has to be thrown on separately, and then the top is also carved, and the carving on the top and the carving on the bottom echo each other. I do this in the blue inside, red outside, and then I do it in the reverse. They all have their own little names on the website. This one's called Prickly Pear. There's a blue one that's called Hedgehog, which is the name of it. They're all names of types of cactuses.
Uh-huh.
And then let's see, what would be the third thing? You know, it's not necessarily my main thing is to suggest this, but I will because it's popular. But I cannot make enough mugs. I have made, I think, 24 mugs every week or two for 40 years.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Never have any on hand. They're super lightweight. They really feel good in your hand. I believe the responsibilities of a mug are to be large, light, and colorful. And they also have a great grip. So a lot of guys buy my mugs because you can really get your hand in the handle there. You know, it's not dainty.
Like a
Wow.
teacup, like a teacup.
Dainty is not my thing.
I love those cups. So as an idea, and as John mentioned, we're going to have you back again and really dig deeper into your product line. But are there price points if somebody wanted to do a gift or a custom gift, or they're getting something for a special occasion, or as we go into the holidays? What is there a price point that most people hone in on, or what's the range of your pricing for your items? Obviously, some things that are more elaborate will cost more.
Absolutely. There's a huge price range. Those mugs are $38. And like you said, at my website, there's a 15% discount plus free shipping anywhere in the United States, the lower 48.
Wow.
So there's that. That's the lowest end is 38. There's bowls that are also $38. Like these, I call these today's bowls, and they're good for every day.
Today's bowls. Yeah.
And then the most expensive thing is $12.25, and that would be this artichoke set. If you can see this here.
Wow.
That's spectacular. And
How many pieces are to that?
Well, the standard part of it is 12 pieces. It's 11 bowls plus a platter.
Wow.
And then it can have as many as 3 platters, and so it can be large enough to really make a statement on a very large table. But in the middle, I would think my most popular things are a serving platter with a little bowl that I call a server set that you would think I would have right on hand. There's the platter, and it has a little bowl that goes with it. It's not the exact right one, but it's painted to match, and this is a fantastic gift. This is $160. So, and then there are things there's a larger platter. It's like $220. Most of these sets are in the 4-something range. I do dishes. I do serving bowls. There's a set of 3 serving bowls on my website called Delectables.
Love the names.
They're available individually at $80, $140, and $180, or as a set, it's $380 for a set of 3, and they're beautifully color coordinated. There's a number of different colors, as you might imagine. So there's a really wide range of things that make really great presents. I just want to add one thing about that custom thing that you mentioned, which is I do some custom stuff. I do dog bowls with your dog's name on them, and I do mugs with people's name on them. I've done it a lot as corporate gifts. You need to leave me enough time for Christmas delivery, but I'm happy to do that.
Great. Wow. So it's well, you know what? Congratulations, because as we had mentioned earlier, you're actually not only a working artist, but this event has thrown so many small businesses for a loop, and the fact that you're able to pivot to go from doing lots of in-person trade shows to an online business, it's great. And we're glad you spent some time with us today, and hopefully when we see you next month, we'll be able to dig a little deeper into your products. One question I do have for you: if I went online to your website and maybe I couldn't decide what to get for somebody, do you offer like a gift card or something for people?
Well,
Can they buy just a gift card instead? What's that?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. Yes, indeed, I do. In fact, I have worked it out so that a gift card is actually a physical object. In my world, physical is everything. I make a beautiful gift card. You can see it. It's right on the list of choices on the front page of my store, which you get to by going to the front of my website and then clicking on the Ship Now button. And I make a beautiful mounted gift card that comes in a beautiful presentation envelope with directions on the back about how to redeem it. And then the whole thing comes in an outer envelope. It's very pretty, and I mail it out to the recipient immediately.
Wow.
So they have something in their hand that they can actually hold. I think that I'm going to do an online e-gift card, possibly by the time we speak next. So there'll be that too. But I think the physical gift card is really a great way to go. I'm very proud of how pretty it is. It's something you receive in the mail.
Cool. So what we'll do is we'll post your website address at our Facebook page. And so for those people that don't have a pencil with them right now or maybe listening to the audio, they can go to our Facebook page, which is Focus Group Radio, and check out Marge's pottery. It's Marge, Margulies, Margulies, pottery.com. We want to thank you for joining us today, Marge, and we continued success with your business, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Thank you, Marge.
Nice to talk to you, Tim and John. I'm
Thank
very
you.
proud to be on your program. Thanks so much.
Great, thanks. So, Mr. Nash, we both got some pottery in mind. I got that poinsettia set, which is really, really cool. But I can't emphasize enough the quality of the product, but also it is a work of art. I kept mine out, and I've already had lots of people ask about it. But it's like a work of art statement piece, but it's also very usable, which I think is pretty cool.
We got the ranunculus, which is a set of bowls that are all nested. And when the box came, I actually thought it was incorrect because I could hold the box with one hand. And when you set this up, this bowl set it looks like it's going to be heavy, but it's fantastic work. So we're going to post all this stuff over at our Facebook page, obviously, and you could check out the video. But I think that's it, right, Mr. Bennett?
Yes. So thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks to Marge, and we hope all of you have a great week. Be sure to check out Unbuttoned, which comes out every Tuesday morning, and then of course our show, The Focus Group, which is Wednesdays at 1 p.m. East. You can find all of our information, all of our media housed, as John likes to say, at focusgroupradio.com. We hope everybody wears the masks, and don't forget to vote. Take care.
It's The Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash. Accessible on all platforms. Subscribe, like, and rate us on your platform of choice. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com.
That was a stunning focus group.